Welcome back to Situations, where real life gets unpacked, unfiltered, and a little too relatable. Season 8 starts now. Let's get into it.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kelvin, your host of Situations, the podcast.
And I'm your co-host, Miss Thiana.
How everybody doing today? Thiana, how you feeling today?
I'm pretty good, and you?
I'm pretty good. Can't complain. Looking forward
Okay.
to this episode. Um, I think we got another good one today.
Okay.
It may rather ruffle some feathers, but that's what we do. You know, that's what we.
Right.
So if we have to ruffle a few feathers, then so be it.
Exactly.
You know. So today we're going to be talking about. Well, I seen something that Cam Newton has said about a woman's value.
Okay.
So he made a comment that a woman's values decrease the more kids she has.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be today's topic. We're going to touch on that a little bit and just try to get, I want to get your opinion on it by you being a woman.
Okay.
I want to get the people that tune in, let's get their opinion on how they feel about this.
Right.
And let's see if we can come to some sort of resolution.
Okay.
I know a lot of this may be debatable. Men might feel a certain way, women might feel another way. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's basically what we're going to be talking about today, just to try to see if we can come to some type of resolution. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna start out. Like this. Does a woman value decrease on? Does her value decrease by how many kids she truly has?
I don't think so, because if a man see a woman out and she's looking great, got herself put together and everything like that, he wouldn't even know anything unless she said it.
Well, but at some point, he gonna realize if he stick around, or if this is something that she's interested in, at some
Right.
point
Right.
he's gonna realize how many kids she has.
No, I know that. I'm saying at first glance, or at first look, or
Right.
their first encounter that they have, until they have a conversation, he's interested. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
then as time go on, or when she says, I have children, or I have X amount of children, then that just may be his preference or not. But I'm like, to say a person is devalued because they have children, I don't agree with that. Because we
Okay.
could say that as well as men. And we
Right.
talking about Cam Newton too, like he got 9 kids. It's like, what woman want to deal with that? It doesn't matter if the kids may be solely with him or not solely with him or whatever. Like, some women don't want a man who have all them kids. You know what I'm saying? So to me,
Right.
it's just a personal preference. But I don't think either person is devalued.
Right. Well, I mean, most men probably look at it as, okay, he meet this woman and
Hmm.
she tell him that, okay, I got 5 kids, or I got 6 kids.
Right.
And he probably gonna start looking at it like, okay, well, damn, do I want to take on this type of responsibility?
Right.
Because
Now
that's
that's what I was gonna say. He may
right.
not want to take on that responsibility,
Absolutely.
especially if it's a man that don't have any kids.
Right.
And some women do get mad at that. If a man don't have any kids, maybe he's excited and desired to start his own family, you know what I'm saying, with someone who don't have kids. And I understand that.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that's how most men look at it. Most men
Yeah.
probably look at it as if like, man, this woman got 6 kids. You know, how many baby daddies you got? Oh, I got
Right.
4 baby daddies. Now you got to worry about, now you got the responsibility of taking on 6 kids, and then you got to worry about 4
Right.
baby daddies. And so that's probably how some men probably look at this type of
I
situation.
I
You
agree with
know,
that.
but my thing is, if you're interested in a woman and you see that there's potential in this woman,
Right.
if she got 4 kids, 5 kids, or 6 kids, and this, but you still like this woman,
Right.
that's a package deal.
Right.
You can't take the woman and not the kids.
Right.
You can't say, well, okay, well, we're gonna be together, but I ain't gonna have nothing to do with these kids because those are not my kids.
Right.
No, you can't do that. You know what I mean? And then, like you
Yeah.
say, Cam Newton made this comment, and like you say, he got 9 kids of his own
Right.
by multiple women. So why would you make a comment like that when you got this
And
many kids by multiple women?
all of the kids are not his biological kids. So he felt it was okay because he was with the woman to take on and claim these kids, but then you don't want to deal with a woman that got, you know what I'm saying, kids. Like, to me, it's just a double standard.
Right. Well, like I said, I just don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't. Like I said, I don't agree with the comment because, like I said, if I'm ever in a relationship and a woman got kids, whether she got 2
Right.
kids, 3 kids, or 4 kids, if I find interest in this woman and
Mm-hmm.
I foresee something in her, and
Right.
she got these amount of kids, that's a package deal to me.
Right.
I'll be less of a man to say, well, I find you very attractive. I feel that we can make some things happen, but I can't be
Right.
messing with these kids. I don't want these kids.
Right.
So
I
I
was in a
can.
relationship and somebody told me I've never dated a woman with kids. So if that's your preference, then don't date a woman with kids. I tell men all the time that, baby, go get what you looking for.
Right.
I was telling the guy, like, you not calling me after 8:30. You not finna what you doing me today. We not finna just go with the flow. If you're not coming over here with some type of intention, I'm like, baby, just get what you want. He told me I had a strict program.
Well,
So,
I mean, at this age, you have to have a strict program because if you don't have a strict program, then it's a whole lot of manipulation going on.
but I'm like, even when I was younger, I still like, what are you calling me after 10 o'clock for? Besides opening up some legs.
Right.
Because if I'm already in the bed, I'm not coming back out.
Right.
I've kind of been set this way my whole life.
Okay.
If I'm
Well, I mean,
outside already and you see me while I'm out, then I'm out. If I'm in the house or whatever, then that's pretty much what it is. I've kind of always kind of been a homebody, so it's like once I come in, that's pretty much it. If somebody didn't intentionally plan something with me.
right. Absolutely. Okay. For the viewers that's tuned in, I'm trying to get you guys up to speed a little bit. We're talking about a comment Cam Newton made. He made a comment saying that the more kids a woman have, it decreases her value. So that's kind of the topic of today's episode. So that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Thiana, let me ask you this:
Hmm.
Why do you think a man would prefer a woman with no kids?
So she can be about him. That's what I think the value decreases, whatever, because I found that a lot of men want you to be. I know I've dated when I didn't have kids, whatever, and it was like when I tried to do something, or in previous relationships, whatever, I'm doing something for myself. I got a modeling gig, or I'm doing a photo shoot or something. Come see me. I'm feeling neglected. Like they want you to put them first. But if you got these kids, then
Right.
they can't be first.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can agree with that. Like I said, but I made this statement earlier. I
Yeah.
also believe, like I said, they just don't want the responsibility.
Right.
They a lot of men just don't want that responsibility. If you got 5,
Right.
6 kids, he don't want to take on that baby dad. I mean, the stepdaddy role.
But this is what I'm saying. So if you got kids and I'm come over there and you got a little girl, whatever, I'm not supposed to comb her hair or anything like that. or we going somewhere, or we doing something, or if I cook, I'm like, I'm supposed to say, I've just cooked enough for you. You can cook your kids something. Like, make it
Right.
make sense.
Right. I mean, I agree with you. Like I said, it's this definitely a debatable. It's
Right.
definitely a debatable because
I personally have never done that. I've actually done the opposite. You know, I'm combing the baby's hair. I go buy my daughter. I had one daughter at the time. I go buy her some clothes. I'm buying the other kids clothes too. And the mama did like that. Like, ma'am, I'm not mistreating your kid.
right.
They not gonna be around me or leave up out of here with me looking crazy, like on no day. If I
So
buy
you
my
don't.
daughter Jordans, they getting Jordans too. If we're going to Hello Kitty, everybody getting Hello Kitty. They getting steak, she
Right.
getting steak too.
Right. Okay. I was just gonna ask you that. So you have no problem if you dating a man that
Absolutely.
has kids to take on that role.
I don't, because I'm a nurturer and I'm a mother. So if
Okay.
they're around, I'm instantly tapping in. I'm mommy mode wherever we at. If it's some kids around, that's just what
Okay.
it is for me.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, I know it's I've seen several clips in the past where women are totally opposite. I've seen the total opposite.
I
I'm
know.
pretty sure you have too. You
Yeah.
know.
I wouldn't even be with a man. You not laying up with me. We not doing nothing. And you talking about you got kids and you don't take care of them. I'm not her. You're not doing that with me. I'm sorry. You not.
Right, right. Yeah, I know it exists. That's for sure. It definitely exists.
Yeah. I don't care as long as he taking care of me and mine, or as long as he taking care of me. That's on him if he ain't got no relationship. Nah, baby, we ain't doing that over here.
Right. So let me ask this: do you think it's
Mhm.
truly about the kids or the father, the original father, still being attached to the kids?
It could be all of that, or it could be, you know how when men feel like they found the one or they dating some whatever, and they, they bragging about the woman, telling the friends about them, or maybe want to take the woman home to meet the. They don't want to say that. Man, she this, she that, or whatever, but she got 6 kids. They don't
Right,
want to say
right,
that.
right. Well, I mean,
It's almost like it's a scarlet letter.
right. And I also believe too that most men probably just want to prevent the drama because
Yeah,
a lot of times that baby daddy situation it can be hectic, especially
it
on the new
can.
man. You know,
It can.
the new man
But
is
see, that's
there.
somebody I didn't, I didn't experience that. I have two fathers, for my kids or whatever. And I left after both of the kids was 1 years old, and I never looked back. They could never say I slept with them again. If they decided not to do nothing, I still did it. My kids went to daycare, charter school, private high school, and I paid for college. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, um, and when they decide they want to, step up and do whatever, I let them. But I never let them not see them.
Right,
But it wasn't never no issue for no new man or whatever. Because like I said, I'm not still letting this man have access to me and laying down with him, and I don't know what that is, because I didn't ever sleep with them after that. So I
okay,
never had that issue. But I
okay.
know a lot of people do.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely a problem. It's
Yeah.
definitely a problem. And then, like I said, it causes a lot of drama and a lot of headache.
Yeah.
And
It
sometimes, as a
does.
man, is it really worth it?
Right.
Is it really worth the drama of having to put up with the baby daddy because he still want to be attached, or he come over, you answer the door, now it's an issue because who are you? Why you got this nigga around
Right.
my kids? And you know what I'm
Yeah.
you know, it
And
ain't
I know,
sometimes it ain't
because
worth it.
I dealt with a man that had multiple kids and multiple baby mothers. And it just didn't work. You know what I'm saying? I bowed out gracefully or whatever, and we had a chance to talk about it. And I was just like, because you still got that door open, even if you're not sleeping with them, sleeping with them, whatever's going on or whatever, they feel like they could still flex because you left the door open for the shenanigans to keep going on.
Right,
So when I'm showing up, or it's like I'm taking a high road all the time or whatever, I'm not crashing out or whatever. It's like, to them, I'm looking weak or whatever, and they feel like they want a spot. And it's like, if that's the spot you in and that's what it takes to be there, I don't want to be in that spot.
right. Okay. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
I like my peace more than any type of chaos. I'm really a loner, so I'm fine with being on my own either way. I ain't lying. You get me outside, baby, you a winner.
You know, I want to ask this.
Mm-hmm.
You know how people say kids are a blessing?
Yes.
Okay, well, if kids are a blessing, why do some men treat them like they're a liability?
Because they want to have them on their terms.
Okay.
Because you got men out here say, I was talking to a friend and I guess somebody went on a trip or whatever. The girl ended up messing with the guy and he had a family at home. So basically it was a sneaky link trip or whatever, it's in that, and he got the girl pregnant or whatever, but she didn't want to have an abortion. So basically everybody calling her wrong. He was wrong because he stepped out on his family. No, he had a woman and a kid at home and got a random pregnant. But they blamed her.
But let me ask you. I don't know the scenario or the situation that you speak of. But did the woman know about the other woman, or you don't know?
I maybe so. I believe so. But the whole thing is she couldn't get herself pregnant still. So she was wrong for laying down him, but then he was wrong if he decided to lay down and he didn't use protection because he shouldn't have been laying down at all.
Right.
Because she couldn't get herself pregnant.
Well, that's true. But I was just trying to. I was listening to what you were saying, and I was just trying to figure out, because did the woman that got pregnant, did she know about the other woman? That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, but the whole thing is he didn't know the motive of this woman to feel like she was a safe space for him to be having unprotected sex with, because that was a possibility of her getting pregnant. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So it was bogus on both of they have. That's why it was a sneaky situation. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was wrong on both parties, but it was like the man blamed her or whatever because he didn't ask her, well, I want to sleep with you unprotected, but is you gonna be okay with not keeping it or whatever? Or what's your belief system on abortion? Everybody don't believe in it. People be picking and choosing the sin they want to do. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I'm
Absolutely.
just saying it's like the men be saying all these things about these kids, but y'all the one who made them.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Cam saying that, but he didn't stay with the mothers he made the kids with. So now you put this woman in that the very predicament that you're talking about.
And that, like I said,
If
he got 9
if you
kids.
got 3 kids with one mother, how you gonna say they devalued whatever when you left? So you devalued her. You see what I'm saying? Like, make it make sense.
Right. Okay. Well, let me say this. Let me ask this then. Would a successful, attractive woman with 3 kids be more? Let me see how I want to say this. Okay. Would a successful, attractive woman with 3 kids be seen differently than a struggling woman with 3 kids?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the woman who's successful with the kids could actually have systems in place. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like with my daughters, when I had them or whatever, I didn't have a problem with getting any man. My kids was very nice, you know what I'm saying? They was well taken care of. They was left in great care if I did want to go on a trip or something or go on dates and stuff like that or whatever. I made sure that they was good. So it was just like, what are you talking about?
Right. Right.
It was always somebody else wanted me to have some more kids. I'm like, no, absolutely not.
I know, right? Yeah, that's tough there. That's tough.
Because I mean, I wasn't ready for the ones that I had, but since they did it and then, was basically trying to say they did it on purpose. And it's like, that's what I'm saying. I just had to be a mother anyway. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Right.
to me, that's not fair for me to say that. And, they're the ones who doing it, especially if they doing it on purpose. And I still left anyway.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. Even at the age that you were when you got pregnant with your kids,
Yeah.
did that change your perspective? Did that change your perspective of life?
Well, I had been watching kids since I was 8 years old. So
Okay.
that was the whole purpose of me not wanting to have kids early.
Okay.
But I had my first daughter at 21 because of a situation at home and I had to leave. I wasn't ready for kids and it happened. So I had to be a mom, but I had already had so much practice. You know what I'm saying? It was
Right.
like,
Right.
I'm like, and then he didn't really want to be there, step up to the plate of to be the best father he could be or whatever. And I'm like, this is my baby and I'm take care of her. And I did. I was still in school. I was in college. I was working for the city of Chicago, had a nice job or whatever. And I took care of my baby. I went and got a condo. We was cool.
Right. Right. That's what's up.
So I just think it can be challenging as a mom, you know what I'm saying? And especially with multiple kids. But if you still have that mindset that you want to make something and have something in life,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, was it times that I had to make some tough decisions? Like, I'm a singer and I had turned down a record contract from one from New York and one from LA when my kids were younger. Because my mom said she would keep them, as most entertainers do if they have some, K Michelle, somebody her,
Right. Right.
family kept her son and stuff like that. And they cried. I'm talking about they screamed. They didn't want me to leave or whatever. And I explained to them that I would go and I would, get us a place set up or whatever, and I would come back and get them. And they didn't want me to do it, so I didn't do it.
Okay.
So, but it was a personal choice that I made because I chose to be a mom first.
Right.
But I still had jobs and I still was able to do, some music stuff and some modeling things or whatever. So I just made it work however it could. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm the age that I am now and they grown or whatever. It's like I pretty much get to have my life back. I just turned 46. You know what I'm saying? I'm still young. I learned a lot, from the business that I have been in, things that I want to do. And my mindset is on ownership. So it was like I worked in corporate, I went to college, I did all the stuff. I pretty much had a whole full life. Now it's like I just get to decide what I want to do.
Right. 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 Okay. So I'm gonna ask you this question,
Hmm.
and I know, and I'm not speaking about you per se because
Yeah.
I already know your take on this.
Hmm.
So, do you think women would judge men that has a lot of kids the same way men judge women that have a lot of kids?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because it's like I said, what in you made you keep laying down unprotected,
Right.
creating all these broken homes. You know what I'm saying? But the man could always get up and leave whenever he get ready. So
The
in a
woman.
way, it does devalue women because what if you get with a man that is, got himself together, whatever the case may be, and
Right.
he wants you to jet set with him, and all of a sudden you can't do that if you got small kids.
Right.
So it does limit some things.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do know some in a situation like that, a lot of women focus on provision and
Right.
and pretty much character, while the
Right.
man focus on lifestyle impact.
Right.
So what you said is
Yeah.
absolutely correct. So, but
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do at this time, I'm gonna play the clip for us, and that way
Okay.
we can have a general idea of his take on this situation. Hold on.
Okay.
This is my question. Do you feel like women's value gets lowered when they have multiple children by multiple men?
I just think that the reality of that answer is women's value get lower the more children that they have. But that's not to say that she can't find nobody.
Right.
I'm pretty sure she has somebody.
Right. But do you feel like it's as the best that she could possibly do if she didn't have children?
When you're talking to a dude that was once in her life, I don't feel like she's going to get better than me.
I might get eaten alive. I don't think most women do better than the father of their children.
Okay. Now, after witnessing that,
Hmm.
how do you feel about what he said and what she said at the very end, where she said that she don't find how did she word it?
She
I don't
don't
think
think
right,
there's a better man
right,
than the
right.
father
Then
of
the
the
father of
children.
the children. So what's your take on that? Let's
I actually was pleasantly surprised. You know, Cam, he can be a little extra sometimes. And when he still said, he was like, she still could find somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't say it was over for her, she was out the game. So he was still open to the fact that, you know, she she could still have love. But yeah, I do think that most men think, unless they want to come in and do that job, you know, and take on that responsibility and everything like that, that they think the women are devalued.
but but my thing is this though. Even if she
Mm.
have multiple kids, should her value be decreased? You
No,
know,
because that's what I'm saying. It's
should she
like,
have to lower her standards?
no.
Okay.
And that's just what I'm saying. Like, now I have kids, and a man could look at it like that. But you could have a woman with no kids who wanted to party all the time and didn't do nothing with her life. I worked, had amazing jobs in corporate America. I went to college. You know, I did things in music, modeling, everything like that. I figured out how to create my own business. I know how to do my own taxes. I cook very well. So I definitely have a lot to bring to a table, you know what I'm saying, as they say. But it's
Right.
just like, you could find somebody that all they know is shopping in a new bag they want or whatever, and they couldn't boil a man a hot dog.
Right.
Or if he wanted them to help with some business stuff, whatever, and she just wasn't coachable or, you know, open to learn something new or something like that or whatever. So I don't think it's the value of the woman that
Okay.
gets diminished because she had kids. I just think it's that woman, you know what I'm saying? If she wants to be valued and she pours into herself, you know what I'm saying, and
Right.
makes, you know, the right decisions to be valued.
Right.
That's what I think it is.
But also though, in that clip,
Hmm.
Cam made it seem as if she wouldn't find anybody better than him.
Well, he
Now,
he got a little bit of, he got confidence, and it could almost seem like arrogance or whatever, because he always talk like that. I watch his
yeah,
podcast and everything like that. But
but
it's
my
just
thing
like,
is, go ahead, Thea, I'm sorry. Go
but
ahead. But
I'm just like, I think the best, what the lady was saying, the best man for the kids would be the father, because this is your seed. But you get some men that step up that are great stepdads and people that come into women last, and they actually treat the kids like they were their own because the man didn't want to assume the responsibility, and they're theirs.
right, absolutely. And that's the type of individual that I am. If I'm in a
Yeah,
relationship with a woman and she has kids, you know,
yeah,
if I'm truly interested in this woman
right,
and I want something with this woman, I know I got to accept these kids.
yeah,
You know, I have that's a package deal. You
yeah,
can't separate the two. You can't say I'm just gonna deal with her and don't have nothing to
yeah,
do with the kids. No, you can't do that.
yeah,
You know, but
right. Because it was times,
my
I'm
thing
gonna say
is
it was times. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Okay.
No, I'm just saying it was times I could say, like, when my kids' fathers wasn't there, whatever. I was taking the kids to buy them stuff for Father's Day, for their birthday. You know, putting their names on gifts for Christmas when they didn't buy anything. But you see how the value in me was still there,
Right,
even though they wasn't there. So
right.
that's what I'm like. That doesn't determine that.
Okay. You know, I was just looking at it from a different I was looking at it from a different standpoint. You know,
Hmm.
I was looking at it from, when he said that the woman wouldn't find nobody better than him, I can
Hmm.
assure you he only saying that from a financial standpoint. Because
Right.
what makes you so sure yourself that a woman won't find nothing better than you? What are you doing different than the next man won't do?
And if you was the best, why did you leave? Why didn't it work?
Right, absolutely. Okay, Rich, what's going on, man? We appreciate you tuning in. Rich, I'm gonna get you up to speed. I don't know if you, I think you just tuned in, but today we're talking about a woman's value. Would a woman's value decrease with the more children she has? Rich, let us hear your opinion on that. Give us your take on that. If you meet a woman and you really truly interested in this woman, you can foresee yourself being with this woman, but she got 6 kids. Does that change the dynamics of how you feel? Or are you still looking forward to taking on that role of being stepdad? So that's basically what we're talking about today.
Right.
Now let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Is having children a proof of loyalty or poor decision making?
It depends on the situation.
Okay.
Like I said, I was with, someone and they knew what was going on. And my situation still, chose to do that and then didn't want to show up.
Right.
So it was like,
Okay.
what was the purpose of you doing it? But it was to trap me. But the trap didn't work.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
I'm with you.
but I was loyal to the situation because I chose to keep the baby. And I was just like, I'm gonna try to be the best parent that I can be. Parenting don't come with a handbook.
Right.
I'm just gonna try to do the best I can do.
You're absolutely right. It definitely doesn't come with a handbook. Everything is hands on.
Right. But
Everything
you
is
see
trial and error.
but that's what I'm saying. It's like a woman could be married or she could be with the same man for 5 years, 10 years, and they had 3, 4 kids, then he decided to leave. Now she devalued. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't out there being bogus, and maybe she was with 1 or 2 men. She could have been with this one man. You know what I'm saying? This might have been her second or third relationship. She went out in the street doing all this and that or whatever. She was in what she thought was a loving relationship, and they done had all these kids. Now he checked out. Now she devalued.
Right. Okay. Rich commented back. Rich basically said that if she has that many kids, he's definitely no longer interested. I mean, he can't be seriously interested. Okay. Rich, why would you not be interested no more? What will make you not interested? Because she got 6 kids. Now let's say for instance she got 6 kids. Maybe out of the 6, maybe 2 grown, and the other are mid teenagers and 10, 8, 6, and somewhere in that range. Okay. Then let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Does age combined with multiple children change how men evaluate the woman? Pretty much what I just asked Rich.
Absolutely, because
Okay.
I'm like, now I'm 46. My daughter's a 20 and it'll be 25. I
Okay.
pretty much can do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it may be a man that I meet or whatever, and he want to have another baby, but he gonna have to come all the way correct because it's like, why would I want to start all the way over again and then you play with me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Right. And Rich said basically, you taking care of another man's kids. Well, that's true too, Rich. You are taking care of another man's kids, and I'm not saying you're wrong or how you feel. I'm not saying that, but let me ask you this, then, Rich.
Well, I often say, what if she is getting support and the kids are taken care of? Then what? And she got a great job or whatever this and that. You see what I'm saying? It's like every situation ain't down and out.
Right. That's true. That's true. Rich, answer Thiana's question.
Because I pay for stuff and they ain't pay for nothing. You know what I'm saying? And the kids are still taken care of to the fullest. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I didn't meet a man and say, well, you gotta do this for my kids and you gotta.
Well, he said as long as she has her finances in order. Okay. Well, but my thing is, like I said earlier, I don't know if you heard me when I said this early in the broadcast. My thing is, if you're interested in a woman and you find out this woman have kids, you got, like you said, you got an option. You can accept what
Right.
comes with it, or you can
Right.
walk away from the situation. Now,
Exactly.
either way, that would be a decision you would have to make. But my thing
Right.
is, if I'm dating a woman, and like I said, I'm truly interested in this woman, and we got a chemistry, we got a bond, but she got 3-4 kids.
Right.
My thing is, now I want to talk to her about the kid situation. How old are they?
Right.
Let's talk about how old the kids are. Well, the kids
Right.
18. If they mid adults, and she may have 1 or 2 babies that's maybe 11, 10
Mm-hmm.
in that age range, that's doable.
Yeah.
That's still doable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're not truly babies.
Right.
And then, like I said, it's a package deal. If you're interested in this woman, you got to accept what comes with
Right.
the woman. You can't be
Right.
interested in a woman and not the kids. And
Right.
then, after you have the conversation with it, okay, well, what's the situation with you and the kid's father?
Right.
Because these are things that need to be talked about. Because
Mm-hmm.
before you make a full commitment, you want to know what you're getting yourself really into.
Right. Right.
Because like I say, that can be a tricky situation.
But see, that's why I was like, when people first meet people, get that lust out of your mind. Both parties. The woman asking, do you want kids? How do you feel about a woman with kids? Like,
Right.
just all the questions on both sides, because it's like, if we're not compatible in those areas and these are real life situations that are happening or that are present, it's like, don't get with somebody and then be complaining about a situation and that's not what you wanted.
Okay, but let me ask you this, Thiana. Let's say, for instance, you guys are having that conversation, but it's one
Right.
bump in the road. There's only one bump standing in the way. How do you handle that? How do you all work around this bump? Now you're interested and I'm interested, but we got one hiccup. How do we work around
What's the
that?
hiccup though? That's the thing. What's the hiccup? Because
Well,
I'm like,
the hiccup got to be based around one of the kids or one of the kids' fathers. Let's say, for instance, it's just she got 4 kids. She got 2 baby daddies. Okay. And one of the baby daddies is he can get off the rail sometime. Okay, let's say he get off the rail. This is just hypothetical. Everything else you can deal with. Everything else I can deal with.
right.
But you tell me that this particular baby daddy, he's like this. This is the type of dude he is.
Well, guess what? I had those situations happen, and guess what? I went and got restraining orders, and I told him if I had to take stuff to the next level in self-defense, we could do whatever we need to do. So it's like,
Okay.
I'm gonna fix the situation before I'm trying to bring somebody else in the situation to have to deal with some BS. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not letting no man play with me like that.
Well, that makes the situation better. Now that hiccup that we had in the road, that bump we had in the road,
Right.
it's starting to smooth out a little bit because of just what you said.
Right.
You're
But
gonna
see,
take the next step. Right. You're
I'm
gonna
not
say,
the
okay, well,
average
don't
woman.
worry about it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna file a restraining order. That's telling me, hey,
Yeah.
I got your back. We in this shit together.
Well, see, I did that.
Right.
I actually did that. That's why I'm like, everything that I'm telling you be a real thing that I experienced. So I got some life experiences. That's why I be able to answer stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, but so, a lot of women will laugh. He's so crazy, and my baby daddy this, and he still be crashing out. He still love me. No, baby, that ain't cute to me. If it's over and I say I'm not dealing with you, don't call my phone. Don't do all this
Right.
stuff. All that's harassment. And after I done told you to leave me alone and you still doing it, now further action has to be taken, because we're not playing that over here.
Right. See, that makes all the difference in the world to me now, because now you showing
Yeah.
me that, hey, I'm truly into you. And
Right.
if this what we have to do to make this
Right.
work, then that's what I'm gonna
Right.
do.
But
So
see,
now
I was
that
the
bump in
same
the
one that told you. I was the same one that told you I didn't sleep with him again after I left. So
right,
that's
right,
so I couldn't understand why they was stalking, and I didn't sleep with him no more. Y'all wanted out, y'all whatever happened in the situation. I said, okay, You know what I'm saying? It's like, now I'm trying to live my life.
Right,
Now
right.
y'all want to act crazy and pop up and stalk, and you know what I'm saying? And I experienced that in real life.
Yeah, that's how I be though. You know, when you got that one particular baby daddy, it's like, oh my God. You ring the doorbell and they be like,
Oh shit. Here we go again.
you know what I'm saying? We got to deal with this now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, so I mean, I get it. I truly get it because, like I said, I never had to experience anything like that before, and like I said, I never had to experience anything like that
I
in my
experienced
entire
it in
life.
relationships where we ain't have no kids.
Right.
And this was after the fact, you know what I'm saying? I done moved on or whatever. And, you know, it's just like, you want it out, you got out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to come back over here. All on my social media, all trying to call, all trying to like, no, stay over there, stay outside.
Let me ask you this:
Yeah.
whether a woman with 4 kids or more,
Hmm.
should she still demand high demands from a man?
I don't know. And that's why I said I could sympathize with the men that feel like that or whatever, because I have been to, you know, people's house that I know they have multiple kids and they don't have the kids in order. They all going crazy. Like the house ain't clean, baby. I got to go. Like, you're going to have to get some order over here. I got to go. I'm just saying, it's like, I got to hate it. No, because at my house, I'm used to peace and quiet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I understand kids play or whatever, but playing and just being out of control is two different things.
Let me throw this scenario at you.
Okay.
Let's say, for instance, you're interested in this man, y'all in a dating phase, right?
Uh-huh.
He got 2 kids, 3 kids. That's pretty much always at the house.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He's not home, but you're there with the kids. He went to the store,
I,
whatever it is,
I've
whatever the
experienced
situation may
that.
be.
I've
And the kid,
experienced that.
right? The kid's telling you, "Well, you not my mama. I don't got to listen to you." Those are the type of kids that he has. You're not
Exactly.
my mama. I don't have to listen to you. You know, being disrespectful to you. How do you handle
Exactly.
a situation like that?
It's an issue. I'm gonna let him handle it. I'm gonna call him on the phone, tell him what happened, and when he come back, I'm gonna tell him I gotta go. This is not something I'm gonna deal with, because guess what? I wouldn't allow my kids to be disrespectful like that.
Right. Rich
I
said,
I
"Baby
I was I
kids."
was in a relationship with somebody and they had an older daughter or whatever, and I had bought her this purse. She wasn't up on the name of it or whatever. And you know, I like fashion and everything like that. I was kind of ahead of when everybody else had started buying this particular brand. And I gave it to her, whatever. And she was like, "What's this? I don't want this, whatever, just ungrateful." I said, "Don't worry about it. You can give it back." She kept the purses, went to school or whatever, went back to college. And everybody was just like, "Oh my God, you got these purses and this design and this stuff costs a lot of money and this and that or whatever." And she tried to come back and apologize. And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "You show me your character. I'm cool on you."
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because first of
That's how
all,
it be.
I'm not your mom. It was the thought that count. And I did get you some amazing gifts. And
Right.
for you to react like that without doing research, like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing. It was like, no, I'm big on respect. You know what I'm saying? I'm big on being humble and, you know, just being appreciative of what somebody do or whatever. And it's just like, as a woman, it's just some stuff that I'm not gonna deal with. So that's why I was like, I understand when men say they not gonna deal with certain things, because as a woman, I'm not gonna deal with certain things neither.
Right. Yeah. I'm totally on board with that myself because like that disrespect, I'm not gonna tolerate.
Yeah.
I'm not
So
gonna deal
ain't
with
no
that.
this one little bump. That little bump could be the biggest thing that have y'all at turmoil all the time. It's a
Right.
red flag. I can't do it.
Yeah. And a lot of time that be the scenario in those relationships.
Exactly.
That the kids be the
And
disrespectful kids, or
yes.
you not my mama,
Yeah.
or you not my dad. I'm gonna call my daddy. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? That type of
Right.
ordeal.
But see,
Right.
and that's why grandma and them always say, be careful who you lay down with, because I could like to take the high road on stuff and, be polite and everything like that. But then my baby daddy is a firecracker, just jack in the box, all that or whatever. The kids got half of his DNA too.
Right, right,
So it's not like, you know what I'm saying? So I could try to do everything for them, but if they got that other half, what if that other half of the family, everybody got Social Security checks, and I didn't learn it until after I laid down with them? We don't. I'm just saying, it's like, it's always another side.
right.
That
Yeah,
other
you're
side
right.
of that DNA, that bloodline.
You're absolutely right. And that's the crazy part of it. I swear it is. You just never know. You just never know.
The man can meet the lady and it's like, she really cool, I like her, and she's so nice and polite, but them damn kids, they off the chain. And then when the baby daddy starts stalking and this and he be like, I see why. No, no. I really like you, but I ain't gonna be able to do this. And that's understandable. But it's like the woman always has to suffer because if the man decides he wanna get up and leave, she's stuck with the kids anyway.
Right. Yeah. You're right about that.
Yeah.
But a lot of women are always being praised for being a mother, but
Yeah.
but then get criticized for being a single mother.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you think that's the case?
Because you're not supposed to be a single mother. You're supposed to be with the person. But that's what I'm saying. You could be married to anything. If that man just wake up and decide he don't want to come back, that wasn't your choice. Like I'm abstinent out. You know what I'm saying? And if I decide I'm not having sex again till I get with somebody and they serious and they talking about, marriage, or they put God first and everything like that. And this man do all these things and then decide he want to get up and leave. Boom. Now I'm 46 or 47 or whatever, 50 with another baby, whatever. I didn't sign up for this.
Right. Right. Yeah. Like I said, it happens though. It definitely happens, and it happens a lot.
And on the other side of it is women out here that's trying to entrap men for a bag, for this or whatever, so they don't have to work. So that's why I'm like, men, just be a little more compassionate when y'all pursuing these women or actually looking at the situation. If the woman is getting up and she's taking care of her business, she doing something, to support her own family or whatever, like, don't tear her down for that. For that woman that don't want to do nothing and
Right.
wants you to do everything or whatever, then I don't know. That's a different story.
Okay. Well, let's talk about a different story.
Yeah.
Would we be having this conversation if men was able to carry pregnancies?
Probably not, because they would be more understanding to see what it felt like. They would actually be in those shoes. Actually, I mean, just carrying the baby to term, the birth, going through all of that.
Right. You're right.
Because that's what I'm saying. A woman will be carrying the baby, and that happened to me. Both of my pregnancies was not great. And that's sad to say. They wasn't.
Right.
I was getting cheated on and everything, whatever. And I didn't ask for that.
Well, I do
But
know.
it was what happened. But guess what choice I made? We ain't finna do this.
Right. Well, I do know that um, reproductive burden definitely shapes perspective
Yeah.
and perception.
Right.
I know that for certain. So you're right. We probably wouldn't be having this conversation if men
No.
had to carry.
No. And people would always be telling me, like, you got kids? You look great. This and that. Or they think I'm younger than what I am, this and that. Baby, I was packing the kids up with the Lunchables and the tablets or whatever. They was going to the studio with me. The kids was going to photo shoots. We was working it out, however we had to do it. Come
Right.
on, y'all living this life with me. Y'all my kids. Come on, let's go.
But let me ask you this:
Hmm.
do you think it's wrong for a man with no kids to have a woman with no kids?
I don't think it's wrong. Remember I said that, like, if this man got the vision of, to me, I feel like, like, I look at the man as a leader, you know what I'm saying? Like the head of household and everything like that. That's just me, because I'm a traditional submissive woman. But, my situation wasn't like that, so I had to step up and do what I had to do. But if that's the vision that he has and that's what he wants, I don't see nothing wrong with that. He's being honest about what he wants. He's not deceiving nobody. He's not, maliciously putting somebody down. Now, if a woman feel offended by that, I mean, if that's the situation you're in and he doesn't want to oblige to that, or that's not something he subscribed to, then that's just his preference. I don't
Right.
see nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But for the man to be out here putting a stigma or a scarlet letter on a woman and say, now she's useless, like she's devalued, like she's nothing because she's had these kids, like, no. Because guess what if your granddaddy had left your grandma and you still talking about your grandma was the best woman in the world that nurtured you, that cared for you and all of that, or your mama, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you can't pick and choose what woman you want to put the letter on.
Right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Let me ask you this. If a man has
Mm-hmm.
3 kids by 3 women, is his value
Mm-hmm.
questioned the same way?
Yeah,
Okay.
for me it is. Because what was you doing? What, you was just fun dipping,
Because I
just
definitely believe
slacking
that's,
around?
yeah, I believe that's where the double standard come in at.
Right. So you didn't decide or foresee that you could have no solid relationship with neither one of these women.
Right.
And then you out here like you single with no kids and trying to have these demands and this and that or whatever. And then when you actually your situation is worse than mine.
But like in a situation like that, does a high, like let's say for instance, there's a high value man.
Uh-huh.
Do you think he'll avoid that type of woman that has a lot of kids?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because even if he doesn't want to, if he have the financial means, he may not be in his child life like that.
Okay.
But he have more freedom and more access. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. Right.
he get to choose what he want. But to me, high value is all across the board, not in just one area. Like integrity, you know what I'm
Well,
saying? Family.
I think a lot of it may have to do with um their goals too in life.
Yeah.
You know, I think that makes a big difference, you know, because sometimes a high value man might prioritize character over the circumstances.
Right.
You know, he meet a woman that he, like I said, he's interested in, and
Mm-hmm.
she tell him the situation, that
Right.
everything that she's been through. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? He might prioritize that over her circumstances. So, I believe that maybe I believe it's somebody for everybody. That's basically what I'm
But
saying.
that's
There's
what I'm
somebody for
saying. You
everybody.
gotta sit down and just get the story of what and why, what happened. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. That's what I mean. That's why I said
Right.
earlier, you got to sit down and talk it out. You got to be able to,
Right.
you got to figure things out, see how it's going to work or how you
Because
guys
that's what
can
I'm like.
make it
My
work.
my story was different, and I'm still choosing to keep going. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Right. Okay. Well, that's pretty much going to conclude it for today.
yeah,
I knew this was going to pretty much be a breeze for us
yeah,
because, I mean, like I say, it's a debatable topic,
right,
and some women may feel a certain way and other men may feel another way, but there's like I said, it's somebody out there for everybody, no matter how many kids this
right,
mom may have. If you're interested and you have no problem stepping up, being in these
right.
kids' life and helping out where you can help out, if you're financially in that position, then I say by
Right.
all means, I don't see, me personally, I don't see anything wrong with that.
I don't
I-
either, but it's a double standard in life, period, with what men do and what women can't do or can do or whatever. So
right,
that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to kids, of course, that's gonna fall into that category as well. But for the women, it's like, if y'all listening out there, you know, You just make some different decisions about what you want, and trust your gut instinct, and look how this man is present and how he's moving with you in mind and everything like that. And if not, if you gotta go take another type of birth control, or whatever to prevent it, then guess what? You got to do what's best for you, because at the end of the day, you're going to be left stuck being called devalued, you know what I'm saying, and being a single mother.
Right. I agree with that. So I'm going to close out with one more question, Thiana.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask this because I was listening to what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to pose one more question before we close out. This is going to be the closeout question.
Okay.
What actually determines a woman's value?
Her integrity, her being ambitious, the decisions that she's making, you just looking at her, how she carries herself,
Right.
the company that she keeps, all of that,
Right. Discipline.
Yeah, discipline,
Alignment.
what's important to her. Absolutely, all of those things.
Character, alignment. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
right. You're absolutely right.
And that's why I was like, a man will be able to see that. Even if a man had been hurt or scorned by a woman or whatever, he say all women the same. And I have gotten in, then I've had men tell me, you know what, you different. And I say, thank you. Like, I actually take pride in that versus you saying I'm attractive or something like that. Because I know I'm different from most women. And it's a lot of amazing women out there, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes it don't even matter what a woman got or what she don't got. If a man that made up in his mind that he's been hurt and he devalues all women because of what he went through or whatever, ain't nobody gonna be safe.
You're right about that. You're absolutely right about that. That deserves applause. I gotta give it to you for that. Okay. Let's go, Thiana. Let's go conclude it for today.
Okay.
And I appreciate you guys tuning in. And like I said, if you guys, watch this back later, comment, give us your feedback on it. Tell us how you feel about what we discussed today, and we definitely will reply to all comments. Okay. Outside of that, that's gonna conclude our show for today. I want to say thank you guys for tuning in as always, and we look forward to seeing you guys for another amazing episode of Situations the Podcast. We'll see you next week. Peace.
See you next week.